right, welcome into the Gator Report, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. I'm here with Coach Goodspeed.
Morning.
Good morning. So, Nature Coast, break down the game a little bit by quarter.
Yep.
First quarter, 2 possessions apiece, pretty evenly matched. What did you see in the first quarter?
Well, breaking down the film last night after the game, offensively, I mean, the offensive line put together one of their best drives of the season going down the field. I mean, we were on the right blocks, we were getting movement, and it showed. I mean, we went down the field and scored a touchdown.
Yeah, that was 10 plays. That was one of our longest drives.
It was a really nice drive, and it shows on film. The details were taken care of in the play. Everybody was doing what they're supposed to. We were physical coming off the football, and it looked like it should.
Yep.
I think, speaking on the offensive side of the ball, then we come out for another series, I think, which was a scoring drive again, if I'm not correct.
That was a 7-play drive
with a punt.
With a punt,
but we faked it, and then we kind of sputtered a little bit. And then we went on to another drive that resulted into a touchdown.
Correct.
Yeah. So, same thing. Those 2 series that we scored on, I mean, we're on the right guys. We're moving our feet. We're doing what we need to do. We're being a physical offensive line, the line I expected all year. And they did a great job with that. The problem is then we start busting in certain areas, which is a typical thing. I mean, one offensive lineman does the wrong thing, and it sputters the whole offense.
And some of these guys are our twos on our O-line.
Yeah, but they've been stepping up. I mean, we've had a ton of injuries with it.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about defense real quick, because defense 3 and out on their. They got a 3 and out on the first drive. The next one was, I think, 1 penalty, so it ended up being 4 plays, but that resulted in them punting as well. So defense is doing what they need to do.
And we were able to keep them off balance with that when the defense got off the field, because some of their guys went 2 ways, so that we could wear them out on offense. And then, when they were on offense, they ran out a little bit of gas, and subbing out number 2 because he played a little defense, really helped. It's just then, typically, what our season has been marred with, going into halftime, we have the lead. What was it?
17-14.
At halftime, it was 14-6.
14-6, that's
14-6,
right.
I believe.
Yeah.
And I told the boys at the halftime, I said, at halftime, I said, there's nothing I can say or do. We just beat a team for 2 quarters. At some point, we need to learn how to beat a team for 4 quarters. And so then we went out, and as we see on the stat sheet, they had 2 big drives that really flipped the game. And, the turnover on special teams hurt. We couldn't get back into that rhythm. They gained a possession. And we couldn't do what we needed to do on offense to wear them down for the guys that were playing on their offense.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, we were, and then we had an injury again. But I thought Mason went out, and with not getting any reps, I mean, he looked like Mason from last year, just making plays with his feet and making things happen on the fly, and that's what he's good at.
Yeah.
And we moved down the field very quickly on that. So I don't know what's going to happen with Kyle. Hopefully he's okay. I mean, I talked to him after the game. He was feeling all right.
Yeah.
So he'll get evaluated, and then we'll go forward with it. I thought Kyle was making some really good progress. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but we have a new quarterback coach, Zach Frazier, and he played at Notre Dame and at UConn, and has really gotten into the quarterback's head a little bit and helped him. And I think he's looking much sharper. And I think he brings a very good dynamic to our coaching staff and what our quarterbacks are doing. So, and it's funny because the first day he walks in, he's like, "So what are you doing on protections?" "Well, we do this." And he's like, "Exactly." So, we matched up really fast, and I like what he's doing out there. But, we start seeing a development, and I think you see a different kind of gelling or attitude on the field with the receivers coming off the football and how Kyle was throwing the football, and we had some explosive plays on it.
Yeah.
So
we had
we
had that big explosive play in the second quarter. We get one play drive for a touchdown, 55-yard pass.
We kind of went to something back that we wanted to get to for a while. Was more of a tempo offense. To kind of wear their defense out a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great plan.
Yeah.
We practiced it during 2-a-days. Haven't really brought it out because we keep getting nicked up.
Yeah.
But I said, hey, let's. Zach said he'd be. Coach Fraser said he'd be up for it. He thinks the quarterback can handle it and the receivers. And I said, well, let's go back to it. And that's where we started tempoing, and it kind of put a bind on them a little bit. I wasn't expecting an explosive play right then. Obviously, it helped us, but sometimes you want to be tempoed when you play a team like Nature Coast, so you can get them a little gassed. But Ryan Price did an amazing job. I think he's earned some more catches on offense.
Oh yeah.
It was fun to watch him do that. So we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But which kind of leads me in to kind of the what we were trying to get done across the board on the team. And we didn't have a JV game, so we pulled up a lot of young guys from JV. And we had some guys step up big time. And it was good to see sophomores. Volstead, he was a dog out there, and he put some big hits. And
we called his name several times.
A lot, right?
Yeah.
And he's fun to watch. Adcock, he was running around out too. And guys that are sophomores going against seniors, you kind of, are we going to be okay there? The matchup, all right? And they stuck their nose in, but they're both hard workers, and I saw it all off season and what they do. So, going forward, I mean, they're going to see more time.
That helps build a lot of confidence for the next couple of years.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are kind of in waiting that we're still grooming to get there.
Yeah.
And some of them it's just going to be an off season with weight room. To be honest with you, but it's encouraging to see them taking these steps finally. So, and that's really the purpose of the season and having them being coached by the varsity coaches, and kind of trend throughout the year. So, I like that fact. What needs to happen is, as a team, we have to figure out. We can't be a two-faced team on here. Coming out in the first half, explosive, everybody's flying, running around having fun, we're making plays, go into halftime, and what happens in halftime? And there's no magical speech that cures that. It's not, if you watch the Sunday game, we're making halftime adjustments. Halftime adjustments are minor things. Hey, I want to run to the three technique on this one. Hey, they've changed their coverage a little bit. We want to make sure we're attacking it this way. It's not like we're going to draw up a whole new offense in the 10 minutes you're sitting in the locker room.
Right.
So it's a matter of coming up, getting yourself ready. We've changed how we came out, and I thought we started in the second half pushing the ball a little bit. We were starting to get explosive, and then it kind of trickled out. And then the mistakes, and it's funny. There's this magical thing in football called momentum, right? And you can't quantify it, you can't see it, but you can feel it, right? Yeah. And momentum on our side the whole first half. And it's been typical through this season. Momentum on our side against Zephyr Hills. Momentum kind of on our side in Mitchell going into a tied half. But then one thing happens, again, which is typical in football, and that momentum goes away and you can start flowing to the other sideline.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to, grit your teeth and go to fundamentals. And as an offense, am I taking my right steps? Am I calling the right linebackers? Are we making the right blocks? Am I making the right reads? And until you get through that funk of that momentum shift, and you can bring it back to your sidelines, that's where we go. And as soon as we have a bad play or something happens, you can feel it come out.
Well, the third quarter, Nature Coast had a 13-play drive Fourth quarter, they had a 17-play drive. I'm out of columns on my stat sheet for a 17-play drive.
Well, that's the other spot that's frustrating, and I know Anthony's frustrated with it too, because the players. I mean, the players are frustrated with it too. I mean, don't get me wrong on that, but we got to figure out a way how to get off the field on third down. I mean, we've been in times where we're 3rd and 15 and we give it back. Yeah. We're 3rd and 10 and we give it back.
Yep.
And those are the things that take you out of the rhythm on offense.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think we've only had two or three possessions. But the time of possession, I mean, we didn't help ourselves coming out of halftime.
We had one possession in the third quarter. One possession.
Yeah. I mean, that just...
And it was a 4-play punt, and then when we can't get off the field, and that was for us watching. It's like, you get them in 3rd and long, and you're like, okay, here we go. We're gonna get the ball back, and they just found a way to get a fresh set of downs on us, and it happened time and time again through there. So, hopefully we can figure that out, in the future games, and I would like to see home field advantage a little more prominent at our games. Third down, we need to really make sure that there is the home field advantage.
Well, yeah, no, and I think it was again. I watch film, and you see other teams in their stadium and stuff. We have a good atmosphere, right? And it's fun, and the students are into it. And it gets the boys going in the band. I love hearing the band, playing. And I told the band director, I said, hey, play whenever.
Yeah.
It's not a stadium of 60,000.
Yeah.
We can hear and we can feel that.
Yeah.
We can hear on the field. And I love what he's been doing.
Well, I will tell you, speaking of the atmosphere, you got so much going on, game time and everything, but homecoming. Mm-hmm. So alumni are, coming back and whatnot. We had maybe close to a dozen people on their 40-year, so class of 1983, in the student section, Gator geared up, loud and proud. So, it was a great atmosphere. It's always a great atmosphere.
That's what we're trying to build stuff when alumni come back and all that. I mean, we're faltering on the field a little bit, but it's not for a lack of effort, or caring, or anything that. It's just one or two things. Just it's a very cursed season right now.
Yeah,
and we need to. It's Halloween. Maybe we could scare up something to change that, right? So it's it's between injuries and just little things that never happen in a game have happened.
Well, you've heard it. You've been around the game a long time. Sometimes it's the very small things that make the difference between the W and the L, right?
And it is. And absolutely
this team could very easily be 5-1.
Oh,
There's no in my mind. There's 3 games there that they weren't. We didn't get smoked. We didn't have the physicality for the game. It just small things make a difference.
And you're absolutely right. And I even mentioned this in our Thursday meeting. I said it's not like I watched the film and we're overmatched physically. Right. Minus Williston.
Right.
Williston, that was.
So I said 5-1.
Yeah, they're a good football team, right? But so are we.
Yeah.
Well, on paper right now, I mean the perception to reality argument, right? The perception is, I'm looking at them and say, we have guys, and you guys play hard. You just make mistakes at the wrong time. And I agree with you. I mean, Zephyr Hills is a good football team, and we were 4 yards from taking back the lead on them, right?
Yep.
Mitchell, we're going in halftime 10-10, and they, we didn't come out like we wanted to, and they accelerated.
Right.
Even Nature Coast, and I think those are the ones. I mean, we're up by a lot at halftime. 11, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Was it 11?
Yeah, it was 17 to 6 at halftime.
Yeah, 11. A fairly good lead. Nothing that you want to be happy with, but we're taking shots and we had the right plays. I mean, we had guys open, we missed the throw, we had the holes, we missed the hole, we missed, it's just those little things that really frustrate you. Not as a coach, but the players and our fans and everything. But I told the boys after the game, I said, so where do we go from here? I said, is it we're satisfied with that, or do we just go back to the workshop and keep improving it? Because I mean, maybe you don't get a chance to see exactly what the offensive line's doing. You kind of look at the big picture when you're up in the press box. But take that first half, I think it was one of the better games our offensive line played. I mean, and there were some guys that I was concerned with going in to the Nature Coast game saying, I don't know if we're going to be able to hold up here. I mean, we're giving up some weight advantage here. They have a quick, smaller defensive lineman who made a lot of offensive linemen look bad on the film, and I'm like, hey, we got to make sure we double team him or make sure we slide to him or do whatever. Kyle was standing back there, very well protected. Had his time to make all his reads.
I was going to mention that to you.
We had holes. We were rolling in different running backs, and they were all hitting the holes.
I thought he had a lot more poise in that game, and I don't know if it was the pressure, the new coaching, or what it was, but calmness that usually, he's, you can see the bouncing and the feet popping and head swirling around looking for an outlet, right? And I didn't really see that the first half. I saw a lot more poise.
And I think it's, Coach Frazier has a lot to do with that. I mean, he just puts a little, for lack of a better term, a little swagger with him. He's played the position, so he's looked through the helmet and knows. And so it was very easy for us to transition to him because he walked in and goes, oh, you're running protections that I've ran my whole career. Yeah, absolutely. You're doing things in run games. So he kind of slid right in and says, hey, I'd like to change a couple things here. And just the basic coaching of the quarterback position. He's done a great job. And it started to show. So hopefully Kyle's injury isn't, too limiting or, he can go. It's the insanity to see Kyle runs and takes off, and obviously as a quarterback I tell him, hey, if you're gonna get hit, slide. We'll live for another play. He didn't, took a big hit. And he's got a boo boo. Their quarterback runs down the field, he gets blown up too, and it's those little crazy things that come up, and it's just been that year.
Yeah, for sure.
And you hate to say that, but the great thing about it, if there is a silver lining, is one, we're getting young guys in there to build for the future. But now we're starting to get healthy. I get a guy back, right? And that's going to help a lot. And so now we can, move a couple pieces around. We can save some juice on the defense and move a guy over there on the D-line, or, just pieces start coming back. And I think the following week we're going to get a guy back. And then the following week we're going to get another guy back. So that's a good thing.
Well, especially with the run that we've got coming up here.
For sure, yeah.
So Springstead's next, right, at home? So what are we going to expect out of that game? What kind of team are they?
Well, I mean, they throw a little bit more than Nature Coast would, but they kind of get into that same area where, hey, we're a pound football team. We're gonna pound you. They have a nice little running back who does a great job. Offensive line, they have big boys. They grow them different up there. In Hernando, right? Yeah, they grow them different. So, but it's if we could just go back and look of things we learned as a defense, as an offense from the games prior that we've had this season, we can handle with all that stuff. We can hang. We can be successful. But we have to do it for 4 quarters. And that's what it is. I mean, Nature Coast is Nature Coast. They've been Nature Coast since I've been coaching at River Ridge. They are going to pound you physically, right? It just comes down to are you going to stand up and do something about it, or, are you just going to get run over? Unfortunately, a couple times we got run over.
Yeah.
Right? Springstead's a little different in that is they can get physical, but they want to get down the field a little bit more. So it's kind of
the
a different animal, but hey, let's take what we learned against Nature Coast and how we got better, or Williston, to stop that run game. But that's the process of learning, and hopefully we can put it together.
Okay. Well, we mentioned a couple of the young guys by name. Anybody else during this game that stood out to you?
Yeah, I thought J-Rex, he's been kind of waiting in the wings.
Touchdown.
And he comes to me and says, "Well, Coach, I'd like to get more touches." And I said, "Well, you got to show me that you can be, the guy,
right,
in practice.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm just going to throw you out there and trust you." And to his credit, he went out and had an amazing practice this week. I mean, was physical. So I said, "All right, you've earned the touch, and hard work and effort rewards itself."
Yeah,
you got a touchdown.
Yeah,
and look really good. I mean, it's you kind of laugh, but I'm not recreating the wheel here, right? If you work hard in practice, right, and show us that you are, coaching staff, this is who I am, and I'm going to go out and know my plays and run the plays right.
Yeah,
you're going to get rewarded, and it shows on the field.
Yeah,
it's not a formula that changes from high school, college, pro, whatever.
It's not, and I was listening to Coach Bowles talking about Winfield Jr. Yesterday, saying the same thing. They're asking him about how what amazing year he's having. He's like, that's how he practices.
Yeah.
This is the same guy you see on Sundays as the same guy we see in practice. That's how he practices.
Yeah. And we've changed the format of practice a little bit, and I thought we were more focused. And we just keep getting more and more focused, but again, we just got to figure out the second half of a football game. But I think when this team figures it out, we can still be a good football team. But it's not something I can decide. It's not something you can decide. The boys have to decide that.
Yep.
They have the talent. There's nothing that we're doing that we're like, whoa, where'd you come up with that, Coach, on offense? No, it's concepts that work. You see them work. It's run game that works, techniques that works when we put it all together. When we do other things, we're just a very average football team.
Right.
But when we do those little things, it looks like we can be a very explosive football team.
Yeah.
Consistency's not there yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to next week, being at home again, and then we go out on the road for the Butter Bowl.
What's left is Springstead at our place.
Yeah.
Then we're at Sun Lake.
Yeah.
Wiregrass, and then Pasco. So our time is getting short. It's crazy to me that when you look at January and you start doing your off-season workouts, and it feels like it's a long time away, and then you hit summer, and then all of a sudden you hit the season, and you want to kind of enjoy the time, but it just goes so fast.
Yep.
So hopefully, for our seniors' sake, we can come together as a team and figure it out so we can earn an extra game, at least an extra game for them. So they're going to have to dig deep for them.
Yeah.
As much as I wish I could play for them, I can't.
Exactly.
I probably wouldn't move for a couple weeks, but so I guess that's really what kind of frustrates me the most, because coming out of training camp, I thought we were poised to do a lot of good things, which I still think we can be.
Yeah.
But we've kind of, with the madness of the season, we kind of took some steps back, and but it gave you a chance to get some young guys on the field and go from there. JV has Hudson Sun Lake to play, and we spent last Monday going over the film with them, play by play. And you could start seeing some of those guys develop too. And I think that's kind of what gave me the idea to have Grayson up. He's been up as our emergency center, but we were contemplating seeing how much he was going to play that game because Thomas had a knee, but he's also starting to learn football, and he's making his calls because the center, he's the leader of offense, right? He's got to make us get on the right linebackers and on the right protection, stuff like that. And he's not there yet, but he's getting there. And we spent a lot of time on our pass protections, and I think it started to click for him. So once you get a year of the weight room in him, it'd be interesting to see how fast he grows. I think has the potential to do some good stuff. So there's a lot of good in all this madness. They always talk about the silver lining.
Right.
And seeing those guys like Volstead at Adcock, J-Rex, guys like that step up. I mean, Chance Robertson, he played really well.
Yep.
Clemente, we're still trying to, get him the football.
Yep.
And have him do the things that we need to do. That's all exciting. And it'll be more exciting because I love the passion we had in the first quarter. Everybody celebrating. You could see on film. We score. Robinson's in there and he's jumping around, and the linemen are all celebrating, and that's all good things. We just have to put it together. 4 quarters.
Yep.
So
it's not enough to do it just for one half. You got to do it all the way through. So, well, hopefully, they all do some soul searching and lean on one another and push one another, and we'll give it to them next week.
Yeah.
We'll
so
see.
It's
I appreciate your time as always.
Yeah, no, this is great. I love doing it. I love being able to talk to everybody and kind of give them a little insight of what we're trying to get done because it's football.
Yeah.
I love football, and it's fun. So, all right. Well,
good luck
on to
next
next week. I appreciate you.
Yep.
Good.